You've no idea what it's like, living with the clay's curse, unable to set so much as a foot out.
Did it surprise you that people in your hometown haven't paid as much attention to this book?
Not really, because, you know, particularly in the black community, I know them all his life. And, you know,
they know
I know what you're doing and what you're doing, so it really wasn't important to people, I don't think. But many of them have called me and said they're proud of the fact that I did write the book.
I saw you on CNN being interviewed one day. Didn't know anything about it, and then all of a sudden there it was. And I had to order the book at the bookstore. I couldn't.
You know, I don't know why the publishers come so. They were pretty cheap now by sending out books. They didn't send them out to all the people like I like for them to. But it's done well though. It really has.
It is interesting to me that you wanted to write the book. You wanted Andrew to write the book.
Yes.
To tell the story.
Right.
So that it would finally be told.
The kind of person I am, who I was, what I did, and what I am today, and what I hope to be tomorrow. Hoping that it would have some effect on some young kid, black or white, doesn't matter.
Did he get it?
If Charles Evans, I hope so. Yeah. If Charles Evans can come from where he came in Medgar and under the circumstances they came under, and done as well as they've done, there's no reason for us not to be able to do better. And I hope they'll get over.
Why don't we do better?
I think it's because it's not stressed enough. I don't think, we got away from the old way of raising children. The children raise themselves now. See, when I came along, my mom and dad and everybody in the neighborhood was my mom and dad. And we were their mom. My mom and dad was everybody's mom and dad. And if a child did something different, then they all converged on it. But now it's not like that. And then most time, parents didn't work. Yeah, maybe there's one worker in the family, and the mom stayed home to take care of the kids. Now both parents work, and then in those days, it was a sin for a young girl to come up pregnant. It was almost the most horrible thing that could happen to you. But nowadays, it's just a pleasure seeing it all. So it's totally different. You get babies having babies.
You're back then, and your dad was a really strong man
and tough. He was a tough old man, and he was good.
There's the story about you and your brother and your dad at a store one time.
Old Jimmy Boy, I never forget. What happened was, back in those days, we were colored then, Negroes. We changed every few years, so I think we were colored folk then. We would go and charge stuff, if you go stuff, put on the books. And old Jim was bad about raising the price on it. If you owed him $10, he went back, you owed him 15 or 20. But my dad was a kind of old fella, he couldn't read or write. But he'd always, give me a seat. He meant a receipt. Give me a seat. And he'd bring home to Mama, carry him to Jesse. And Mama would keep all the receipts, and then at the end of the week, time to pay, Mama would add them up and give them to Dad. That's what you owe, Jim. And so my dad would go back down to pay. And when this particular time, Jimmy said, Dad said, Mr. Boy, I won't pay my bill. And I said, all right, Jim. Real mean like. So he went to the restaurant, to the old drawer, pull out, and said, you owe me so and so and so. That's no, sir. I said, no, sir, this is all I owe you right here. Just done told me this is what I owe you right here. Are you calling me a lie, nigga? Dad said, no, this is what I owe you. And that's what I'm going to pay you. And when he said that, we all knew Jimmy kept a gun in the drawer, And Dad was standing by the counter. There was 4 or 5 more whites in there, snuff dipping, tobacco chewing, rolls of chewing and looking funny. And Mac and I was there with Daddy. And when Jimmy started toward the drawer, there was a Coca-Cola bottle sitting on the back of it. They had a whole rough Coca-Cola bottle. Daddy grabbed the bottle and broke it like that. He broke it, the neck, just left the neck. He said, Mr. Bull, I go to I'll kill you. And Jimmy, and the fear that you could see in Jimmy's face and the other whites in there, it did something to Mac and I. Said, here my one daddy here, with nothing but a Coca-Cola bottle, got all these white folks scared of him. It did something to me. It just made me proud. Dad said, come on, boys, let's get out of here. He said, Mr. Jimmy said, I don't pay you, but I don't pay you no more. He said, I'm going to get you, nigga. And so Dad said, let's back on our boy. So I started to run. And Dad said, don't run. So if you run, they'll kill you. He says, walk out, just back on out. And we backed on out the store. And as we got outside, Dad kept looking back. And we went on down the railroad track. And most of the time, back there across the railroad track. We were thinking for sure they're going to come kill our dad that night. So we did. We got home. And Dad told us to go on. I know they don't do it. And Dad told us, he said, look a white man in the eye. Don't bat your eye. He ain't do nothing to you. He says, look him in the eye. I said, now if you look down, so you kill you. He said, don't look off. So anyway, we went on home, and that night, Mac and I thought we were going to that, so we got our R.I.P, 22 rifles. Megan got one, I got my other, and we'd been watching the more cowboy show where you had a crisscross, you know. So I went, what we did was, I went all the way up to the end of the road. We lived at the end of we owned the land at the end of it. We lived down here in the road, come in here. So you had to come by, all of us, to get here. So I got all the way up here, and Mecca got over here. In case I missed him, he was going to get him. But you know what? They didn't come. That was so occurred. They didn't come. And Mama said it was all about prayer, son. I prayed, and I guess why I'm such a believer in prayer today, because I know what it does for you.
But you and Medgar turned out so differently. I mean, Medgar, you carried a gun.
Yes.
You packed that pistol.
Still do.
Probably still do.
Yeah.
It's probably in your desk drawer. Right?
I have.
Medgar would never have thought that.
He would. That was his trauma. He would believe. He just never believed that anyone would harm him. I said, Medgar, they'll kill you. I said, no, you can't take no chance on people. I said, even at times, even some color, some more color man will kill you. But Charles said, that's where I got to go. I'm going to go. He said, he believed you couldn't go around teaching non-fear and be afraid yourself. He wouldn't even keep bodyguards with him. And I always kept 4 or 5 with me. But he said, because if you do that, what about those poor who ain't able to kill nobody? How are they going to be able to make it? If I got to go out with bodyguard and talk on my big talk, then what are those people who don't have no bodyguards? And that was his faith. He believed in that.
When he was killed, you were in Chicago. You were in the saloon business, right?
Well, I was doing a lot of things then.
Well, a lot of them, sir.
Well, I was doing things. I was, see what happened, it goes back to, I got broke in Mississippi 5 years before about 6 years before Mecca was killed. So what I did, I left. Because Megan had made a pact many years ago that, because I had the voter registration drive in Mississippi during that time. Megan was integration and trying to get into school, this type of thing. When they broke me, then I went to Chicago. I said, look, I'm going to go to Chicago, and I'm going somewhere and make some money. So we can come back and fight these Peckerwoods. You know, they call you all kind of names. So fight these Peckerwoods. So I got in my old car and started Chicago and ran out of gas just outside Chicago. Had no money on it. And that's why I know all white people are not bad. And I was putting gas in my car. And I had my daughter, my baby girl's little penny bank. So I was shaking the penny out of it, and the fella came out and said, he looked at me and said, what you doing? He said, well, you ain't got no money. I said, no, sir. He said, don't worry about it. He filled my tank up full of gas. I couldn't believe that. He said, now you go on and you gonna do all right, boy. I said, thank you, sir. I said, I'm gonna pay you one of these days. He said, no, you don't. You don't pay me. And I wrote down where I was in Chicago. I know about Chicago. And sure enough, about a few years later, I went back and paid him. But all I'm trying to say is, there always has been, and there always will be, good in black folks in all races. And he knew something about Mississippi Tag. I guess he figured I was running from something. So he gave me the gas. But that's when I got in Chicago, and I started doing whatever necessary to make money if I want to come back home. And I wanted to help Medgar continue to fight, because Medgar could make a quarter. You know, if he made a quarter, he'd give you 30 cents. Just that kind of person. And I went up there to make sure. And I worked day and night. I did all the things that the law said illegal, but it was profitable for me and for Medgar and for the
It was prostitutes, wasn't it?
Well, let's say it wasn't really a prostitute. It was things that were black and white and the Chinese out there on the streets peddling their bodies. And then I'll never forget, it was 2 and 5. $2 for them, $5 for the room. So I took them all in. I said, listen, I'd done this in the Philippines. And before I said, I come in and I got them in and sat down and talked to us. Let me tell you something. Well, let me how y'all work for me. What do you mean? I said, look, I'll give you $125 a week and give you a place to stay, and you won't have to worry about on the street peddling your body. And they all went for it. So I had about 6, 7 girls, and I have a nice place to stay. And I took care of them, I paid them, and they made me good money, and I made them money. And so that's why I said, I wasn't a pimp. It was a thing where they were doing anyway, and I had fellows down at the bus station. By the time it wasn't too much a plane, bus station, train station, and at the hotels. Where I'd been a bellhop down at the hotel, and I knew about how to get in touch with those fellows and to get the connection. And most of them sort of like, boy, find me a girl. You know where I can find a girl? and I'd make sure that we got him a girl. And we'd take him on and send him on out there. And I would always make sure, though, that I would screen them. I wouldn't let them just anybody come in and bother. And they had their own room, so that's how we did it. And
but then Medford got shot.
Then I was in the numbers racket, you know, running the numbers racket and bootlegging. I had a good bootlegging business going. And I came on. Then I got a little fight with the syndicate a little bit, and cause I was part of it, but I had my territory, and they said I was supposed to have my territory. So the Sunday before Meg was killed, he called me because we talked a long time. He said, "Charles, so you be careful of that." I said, "Because you know the mafia will kill you." I said, "Look, don't you worry about me. You watch them damn plans go down there."
He probably thought you were in more danger than he was.
Yes, he did. Because you know I was hot-headed, and I didn't back up off of nobody. He would just, in order not to make you mad, he just back off and walk around. Anyway, I said, "You watch them cluckers. That's what you do." I said, "Cause I'm gonna take care of these. What I call my name up there. So I'll take care of them, and you just be careful." He said, "All right." And then somehow or another we both got real sour. He said, "I'm worried about you." I said, I'm all right. I said, "Don't worry about me. I'm concerned about you." And we said, "Okay." I said, "Okay, look, I'll see you later." I could tell he's getting very emotional. And I hung up. And that's the last time I talked to him. And then when I came that Tuesday night, I've been on one of my routes, dropping my policy, and I came in and I had my lights all on in the house. I said, "What is this?" And cause I didn't know about it in my house, and people are all in the house, and all my strong arm man with me, so I jumped out of the car. Wait, Charles, I'm going, let's go see us. No, sorry, I'm going out in my house. Hell, I'm going to my house. So we got in the house, walked up on the porch, the lady met me at the door. "Come on in, Charles." I said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Come on in." I went on in and I said, "Where's Nan?" That was my ex-wife. She said, "She's back there." I went back. I said, "Nan, what's wrong?" She said, "Sit down." I said, "What's wrong?" I thought my daughter was sick because she was all sick and something happened to her. She said, "Charles, they shot Meg today." I was, "Oh, they can't kill her. Elvis. They'll swing them." She said, "Oh, no." So he's dead. That's all I remember. And when I remember thinking I was in Mississippi, arguing with Dan Rather, and some more reporters out there about following me around with a damn camera. And
changed your life forever.
Completely. I left a very lucrative income. I left a 24-unit building. I left a thriving nightclub. I left a good liquor business and a good car good business. I left it all. I haven't been back from that day. That changed my whole life. I went back up there to collect. I used to keep money hid, and no one knew it. And I had it in the basement of one of the buildings I had. And my ex-wife was living there at the time in the building. I went back home, I guess 4 or 5 months later to get my money. Went down in the basement, and a damn dog was dying. Dog jumped at me, hollering. I was hollering and screaming, and that's the only time I went back to get my money that I left there. And I brought it back.
You have known every president since John Kennedy, right?
I know quite a few, yes. Quite a few of them.
You didn't start out as a John Kennedy fan.
No.
Remember that. You thought that Nixon was...
Oh, yes. I like Nixon.
Yeah.
I like Nixon, and I still like Nixon to the day.
You thought that Nixon would have been a better president for the blacks?
Well, I thought Nixon would have been a better president, yes, for the blacks, because at that time, Nixon and Ms. Nixon, I'll never forget, had gone to Africa and stayed down there 3 or 4 weeks. And he came back talking about the suffering. And if he was president, what did he do about it? And naturally, that turned, most blacks would go for Nixon. Well, you know it not.
Yeah.
At that time, most of us were for Nixon. And then most of us wasn't voting either, so it didn't happen too much. But what happened was, when Martin King got in jail in Atlanta, Birmingham, I believe it was. Against, 75, you forget. So I believe it's Birmingham. And they wouldn't let him out. John Kennedy had Bobby to call down and get him to release him. And that turned back just like that. From Nixon. From Kennedy. And I know
it was so close to you.
Yes, yeah. We became just too close, and I, because we lost the same thing. He lost a brother for fighting for the rights of human beings. I lost a brother fighting for the rights of human beings. And then he and I had met some years ago, but I didn't know him that well. Med and John Kennedy was very close. And when they both were killed, it left about me and Bobby. And Ted was just the youngest, and we became very close. And I was with him on all his campaign. He was down
when he was killed.
Right then. I was in the room. It was Rayford Johnson and Rosa Greer and I who grabbed Ethel and some more people that were down there. And when that was down on Bobby, it was me and Rose who pulled off. And I never, and it hurt me no worse. That was just as bad as when Medgar was coming. And what I did was I went to the hospital with him, and I stayed out there until he died. I stayed right there with him until he died. Then I left and came back on the train with him, on the plane with him. I stayed up in the room where the casket was. Because he was a friend. He was a man who believed in right. And it didn't matter what color you were.
So I think maybe one of the stories that ought to be told, that isn't told enough, is I don't think that blacks in Mississippi would have gotten to vote as soon if it hadn't been for you.
Well, I don't know. I did all I could. Aaron Henry, Fan Lou Ham, and myself.
It was the three of you, right?
Yes, who really got out here and started.
So do you feel like you got enough credit for, or does that make a difference?
That makes a difference. You know, what's important is we have it. Mm-hmm. What's important is that blacks now and whites are now voting together, working together, and enjoying this great state of ours, what I hope could be, without fear of each other. Now it's fear of blacks, fear in blacks now. I don't need the credit. My work speaks for me. I know the places I did. I know when I see somebody going in a Holiday Inn, I know the first time I wasn't sleeping in a Holiday Inn with tear gas and with all kind of shotguns outside. I knew who did it. When you get it, all the elected officials, I know who was the man who ran, knowing I couldn't win, to make sure that blacks come behind would be able to run and be elected. So what I need, I know what I've been, and that's all that really matters. And I did it from here, not for no price, for no nothing else. I did it because my brother had given his life, and Aaron and Fan Lou Heyman was fighting, and so that's all you do. You do what's right. That's why I would never become a bigot. I would never hate white people. I don't care what you do to me. You know why? As a young colored boy, many years ago, I needed to use the toilet. Back in those days, it was toilets. And Meg and I was going somewhere, we stopped by, so bought some gas. And we got out of the car. We always had cars, because we had a funeral ministry, so we had some kind of a car. And I never forget, I went to this church. I said, "Mister, you got a toilet?" I ain't got no toilet for niggas. And I stood right there and wet all over myself. Only because I was colored. And that day with me to this day, I would never see a young white kid, because he's white, had to wet himself, because I wouldn't let him use the restroom. So I have a lot of reasons why I'll never be a bigot. And then the lady that did more for me than anybody else besides my parents was Mrs. Payne. Mrs. Payne was a white lady who I used to work for when I was going to school, kid in Decatur, in Newton. And she was always telling me, "James Charles, ain't nobody better than you, and you ain't better than nobody. You just be something, you hear, boy? And you can be something." And she had a bus station in Newton. And that's why I learned how to do short order cooking. I was a hamburger man. I did all the hamburgers and hot dogs, this kind of thing. And an old drunk white man came in one day and said, "I don't want that little nigga fixing me nothing back there." And Miss Payne went off, said, "Get out of here, don't you never come back in here. So you don't call my boy no little nigga." And that just meant so much to me.
Let me ask you about the trials. You went to the first two trials. No?
I never attended one of them.
Never went to any?
No.
Why not?
You know, a man has to know himself. And I knew that I couldn't sit there in that trial and behave myself and look at the smirk on the back of his face and the attitude he had. I would jump in and broke his damn neck, and I knew that. Right in trial, right before the judge and everybody. So don't put me embarrassed, and my family already upset enough. So why should I get into that? So I just didn't attend. And I didn't think it was necessary for me to attend.
Did you believe in your heart that the last trial would have the ending that it did?
No. I look for
you expected another
husband of a hung jury. Can you imagine that 30 years later in Mississippi there were whites and blacks, young and old, a white assistant district attorney and a white jury who sentenced a white man to life in prison for killing a black man? We've come a long ways. And no one seemed to care about that. But it means so much to me to know that.
You talk to Merle about that? Or do you?
Not really. There's a problem. I mean, I'm murder's, I guess, worst enemy. I envied her because she took Medgar from me. I felt like sort of crazy thing. She didn't do anything to me but that. Meg and I had hoped that we were going to be real rich. And we'd already gone down and buy some land, and we're going to build 2 big houses, one for him, one for me. And I always wanted children, but I didn't want no wife. And we're going to have, he and I were going to be free to do whatever, just travel all over the world with, because I was going to make the money for him. I didn't care about that. And we're going to live and enjoy each other, just go around and have things together and own a lot of property and own a lot of businesses. And when Mecca met Merle, he felt hell over his in love with Merle. And he couldn't, and he just, all that left him from us. And I'm sure how stupid I am. And I never forgave her for that. And it wasn't her fault.
Have you tried to talk to her about that?
Not really. She knew how I felt about it. And then, when Mecca was killed, I wanted the house because I helped to get the house and I helped to take care of it. And rather than let me have the house, she gave it to 2 of them. So yeah, so there was a lot of bad feeling between the 2 of us. All my fault, it was not her.
Did you see the movie?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was about 85-90% factual. Because of, you see, what most people don't understand, it wasn't about Charles that was in Medgar. It was about a young white boy in Mississippi who went out and created enough evidence against a white man who killed a black man to get him convicted. It shows how far we've come in this state since Medgar's death. That's what it was all about. And that's why I give the Lord all the praise and the credit. The little thing that we did was just hope. I never thought he could do it. He came back in this office. I said, Lord, you crazy. I said, you're not going to get anything. He said, will you support me if I will? Something like that. I said, sure. I said, but you don't get enough evidence. And we had hell getting murdered to agree to do anything. And we finally got to agree to do it. And that's what, nothing burned me up when I see on television how they scream about how much she did. To thy own self, be truthful. And it's not true. The Lord did it. And the clan ledger and the other guy did all of the work. I did what I'm doing now. And when he come have somebody tell him. And we had begged whether she had some papers, some of the original, the transcript. Mm-hmm. I had them by law. I had them to mine. And she had them. We begged her, and please let us use it. She didn't want to do it. And finally she said, well, I'll bring it. I said, you want to do it? So I come in and I'll bring it. So she brought it in and let me look at it. But so it's I want to give the law the credit and the district attorney's office. Because they the ones did it.
If Byron DeLay Beckwith was sitting in a room with you right now,
it won't ever happen because I wouldn't do it. I still have the same feelings today that I had the day he killed me. He had no way to do it. No reason for him to do it. And I would probably do the same thing now. That's why I said I wish they would give him the death penalty and let me be the one to drop the pill. Or let me pull the trigger. I could do it with no remorse right now. At 75 years old, I could do it. Only him, and no one else. Not because he's white, because he killed the closest thing I had to me. For no reason. I didn't want to be free.
Took part of your life away.
Yeah. Sure did.
But at the same time gave you a whole other life. It's very complicated. It's very complicated.
Well, I had to carry on. I had to keep doing something. Mecca didn't want me to go back to Chicago and get back into prostitution and running numbers right and making money. He wouldn't want that. I had to do it. I promised him. He promised me that we'd carry on for each other. Something ever happened to either one of us. And it happened to him. Why, I don't know. Well, I've been the bastard of the family all the time. I've been the one who created problems. I've been the one who did the fights. I've been the one who did all kind of stuff that was my mom and dad something I didn't even like. But Lord kept me up for some reason, and I'm proud and thank him for it. But no, I would never go back.
I'll tell that story to B.B. King.
He knows about it. Yeah, he knows about it. He knows how I feel. And that's
Is that why he's so involved in?
Well, I guess so. We've been together since we were youngsters. We were the first jocks, black disc jockeys in the South. I was here over at WHOC in Philadelphia, Mississippi. BB was at WDIA in Memphis, just youngsters. And we used to had old cotton Connell we used to have, and he and I be the only 2 colored boys out there, all the white folk. And that's why that I guess he and I, and we sort of grew together. We've been friends for years. I know who crowned him King of the Blues at the Savoy Ballroom in Chicago many, many years ago. And we've been all over the world together, and we do a lot of funny things together. We both bastards, And we like the same kind of life. I don't drink now. He doesn't drink. He used to drink. We doesn't drink anymore. We never did drugs. So we both came in Church of God in Christ. So so we just be good friends. And that's about it.
It is interesting to me, too, that you have fathered daughters by 4 women. 5.
Okay.
There are how many daughters? 8? Is that?
Well, I just heard they have another one, so I know I have 8. The lady came out of Chicago. When I was for BB's birthday last month, we were up there, and the lady came to me and said, Charles, I went to my sister's, Leah's house, and she said, this lady been calling. And so when I come, let her know. So finally, she let her know. The lady came in and said, just daughter with her. She said, Charles, this is your daughter. I said, my daughter? What do you mean, my daughter? And this must have been 35, 40 years ago. She said, this is your daughter. I said, oh. I said, why you just telling me? Well, I couldn't tell you then because I was married and you were. So what the hell are you telling me for now then? I said, get out of here. Anyway, so the girl, Dad, I always wanted to be your daughter. I wanted Mom to tell you this. I always wanted to be your daughter, so that's okay. So I accepted her. So now I got 9 daughters. 9 daughters. Come on. I don't know if I hope down anymore out there. And I'm not going to lie, I was there. I was going with the mother. I'm telling her I've been dating.
You have been responsible to every one of them.
Every one of them. Asked the mamas. Every last one of them. I sent them all, there they all are. I sent them all to college. I sent them all to school. I took care of them. They never had to want for anything. Not a one of them. They never had to beg me, and they would never neither one of them had to have me pay child support. Because my whole thing has been that if you can't pay, don't play. And the most important thing in the world is take care of your child. And really, that child, they all love me like I don't know what now. And
now they do.
Right now, they always did. The kids.
Do they now understand?
Oh yes, and they all.